lovely friends here. Kandita is here. Bhaktiville is our tech wizard. Bhakti Greece is here, our local DJ. And welcome to all of you. Welcome to all of you there listening to us live streaming on Facebook. So last week we took a little detour to look at the details of these secondary rasas we've been reading about. We looked at the essential ingredients of rasa and applied those concepts to hasya rasa, the laughing ecstasy. So let's continue with our reading with these ideas in mind. We're reading about the secondary rasa of anger. We're continuing, and we're on page 381 of the book, or page 420 of the PDF. First, let me offer my obeisances. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone. They are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, was very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. I'm slightly distracted, sorry. My cat has decided to join us. You can't see that, but she's here with me. All right, so we are going to, I want to keep in mind, if you could move to that slide, Bhakti. Back. Buttons on our slide viewer. So we went over the 5 essential ingredients of rasa. A couple more. We're trying to get the slide viewer in the right place. Got Jagannath Ash to come up there. One more. That one. Okay, so these are the 5 essential ingredients of rasa. So sthayi bhava, the first one, is fervent. Prabhupada translates that as fervent ecstasy. And that's the primary rasa that we're used to hearing about. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So that's the first element to consider while we're looking at these secondary rasas. And the second one to consider is vibhava. Prabhupada translates that as special symptoms or causes of ecstasy, or causes for tasting bhakti rasa. And the third one is anubhava. Prabhupada calls that subsequent ecstasy. So these are the actions which display or reveal the spiritual emotions situated within the heart. The fourth one is sattvika bhava. Prabhupada calls that constitutional or existential ecstasy, or when the heart is overwhelmed by emotions. And 5, vyabhichari bhava, aggressive ecstasy, Prabhupada calls that. And those are the internal spiritual emotions. So these are all things that are part of ecstatic symptoms of pure devotees. So if you're reading a story and you're wondering, gosh, I wonder why that's going on, this is part of what you can look at to understand why that's going on. And it's related to their sthayi bhava, their resident bhava that they, or their primary bhava that they have in relationship with Krishna. And then what's happening, what is Krishna doing, or what is our devotees doing, and their reaction to that would be the other 3, 4, and 5. All right, so we are on, as I said earlier, we are on page 381 of the book, or 420 of the PDF. And we had started to read this section before we took that little side trip, so I backed up a little bit. We'll start at the first full paragraph of that page. In all these humors of ecstatic love, the feeling of anger is accepted as the steady factor. Oh, so that's the one we're looking at right now as Rudra, the one of anger. Not that all of the humors of ecstatic love have anger in them. This is the specific one, anger. When Jarasandha angrily attacked the city of Mathura, he looked at Krishna with sarcastic glances. At that time, Baladev took up his plow weapon and gazed upon Jarasandha with colored eyes. Or, as my students used to call it, the stink eye. Anyway, that's not, with colored eyes. There is a statement in the Vidagdha Madhava wherein Srimati Radharani, in an angry mood, addressed her mother, Purnamasi, after she had accused Radharani of going to Krishna. My dear mother, Radha declared, what can I say to you? Krishna is so cruel that he often attacks me on the street. And if I want to cry out very loudly, this boy with peacock feather on his head immediately covers my face so that I cannot cry. And if I want to go away from the scene because I'm afraid of him, he will immediately spread his arms to block my path. If I piteously fall down at his feet, then this enemy of the Madhu demon, in an angry mood, bites my face. Mother, just try to understand my situation and don't be unnecessarily angry with me. Instead, please tell me, how can I save myself from these terrible attacks of Krishna? End quote. Sometimes, amongst contemporary personalities, there are signs of ecstasy and anger because of love for Krishna. An example of such anger was exhibited in the quarrel between Jatila and Mukura. Jatila was the mother-in-law of Radharani. Mukura was her great-grandmother. Both of them were talking about Krishna's unnecessary harassment of Radharani when she was walking on the street. Jatila said, quote, you cruel-faced Mukura, by hearing your words, my heart feels like it is burning in a fire, end quote. And Mukura replied, quote, you sinful Jatila, by hearing your words, there is aching in my head. You cannot give any evidence that Krishna has attacked Radharani, the daughter of my granddaughter, Kirtida, end quote. Once, when Radharani was taking off the necklace given to her by Krishna, Jatila, her mother-in-law, told a friend, quote, my dear friend, just see the beautiful necklace that Krishna has presented to Radharani. She is now holding it, but still she wants to tell us that she has no connection with Krishna. This girl's activities have disgraced our whole family, end quote. Natural jealousy of Krishna by persons like Shishupal cannot be accepted as ecstatic love and anger with Krishna. So that exception there at the end about Shishupal, we'll go over that kind of conflict in the chapter on Rasabhas. So we have a little ways to go before we get to that chapter. Chapter 48, Dread and Ghastliness. Dread. In ecstatic love for Krishna and dread, there are two causes of fear. Either Krishna himself or some dreadful situation for Krishna. When a devotee feels himself to be an offender at Krishna's lotus feet, that time, Krishna himself becomes the objective of dreadful ecstatic love. And when, out of ecstatic love, friends and well-wishers of Krishna apprehend some danger for him, that situation becomes the object of their dread. So this is that first or the second symptom or the second ingredient there on that list. Vibhava. the symptoms or causes of ecstasy. When Riksharaj was in front of Krishna fighting and suddenly realized that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna addressed him thus, quote, "My dear Riksharaj, why is your face so dry? Please do not feel threatened by me. There is no need for your heart to tremble like this. Please calm yourself down. I have no anger toward you. You can, however, become as angry as you like with me, to expand your service in fighting with me, and to increase my sporting attitude." End quote. In this dreadful situation, in ecstatic love for Krishna, Krishna himself is the object of dread. There is another instance of a dreadful situation with Krishna as the object, as follows. After being sufficiently chastised by child Krishna in the Yamuna River, the Kaliya snake began to address the Lord. Quote, "O killer of the Mora demon, I have acquired many mystic powers by my austerity and penances, but before you I am nothing. I am most insignificant. Therefore, please be kind upon a poor soul like me, and don't be angry with me. I did not know your actual position, and out of ignorance I have committed such horrible offenses. Please save me. I am a most unfortunate, foolish creature. Please be merciful to me." End quote. This is another instance of the ecstasy of dread in devotional service. When the Keshi demon was causing disturbance in Vrindavan by assuming a large horse's body that was so big that he could jump over the trees, Mother Yashoda told her husband Nanda Maharaj, quote, "Our child is very restless, so we'd better keep him locked up within the house. I have been very worried about the recent disturbances of the Keshi demon, who has been assuming the form of a gigantic horse." End quote. I don't see how anybody as a mother could say that with a straight face. I think I would be very distraught. Anyway, when it was learned that the demon was entering Gokula in an angry mood, Mother Yashoda became so anxious to protect her child that her face dried up and there were tears in her eyes. Okay, so there it is. These are some of the signs of the ecstasy of dread in devotional service, caused by seeing and hearing something that is dangerous to Krishna. After the Putana witch had been killed, some friends of Mother Yashoda inquired from her about the incident. Mother Yashoda at once requested her friends, quote, please stop. Don't bring up the incident of Putana. I become distressed just by remembering this incident. The Putana witch came to devour my son, and she deceived me into letting her take the child on her lap. After that, she died and made a tumultuous sound with her gigantic body. End quote. In the ecstasy of devotional service in dread, the unconstitutional symptoms are drying up of the mouth, exuberance, glancing towards the backside, concealing oneself, bewilderment, searching after the endangered, lovable object, and crying very loudly. Some other unconstitutional symptoms are illusion, forgetfulness, and expectation of danger. In all such circumstances, the ecstatic dread is the steady or constant factor. Such dreadfulness is caused either by offenses committed or by dreadful circumstances. Offenses can be committed in a variety of ways, and the dread is felt by the person who has committed the offense. When dread is caused by a fearful object, this fearful object is generally a person who is fearsome in his features, nature, and influence. An example of an object which caused ecstatic dread is the Putana witch. Dread can be caused by mischievous demonic characters such as King Kamsa, and it can be caused by great powerful demigods such as Indra or Shankara. Demons like Kamsa feared Krishna, but their feelings cannot be described as ecstatic dread in devotional service. Ghastliness. Just need to change something here. All right, ghastliness. It is understood from authoritative sources that an attachment for Krishna, because of feelings of disgust, sometimes presents a ghastly ecstasy in devotional service. The person experiencing such ecstatic love for Krishna is almost always in the neutral stage of devotional service, or Shantarasa. A description of ecstatic love caused by ghastliness is found in the following statement, quote, "This person was formerly interested solely in the matter of lust and sense gratification, and he had perfected the greatest skill in exploiting women to fulfill his lusty desires. But now, how wonderful it is that this same man is chanting the names of Krishna with tears in his eyes. And as soon as he sees the face of a woman, he immediately becomes disgusted. From the indication of his face, I would think that now he hates sex life." End quote. In this mellow of devotional service in ghastliness, the sub-ecstatic symptoms are spitting upon the consideration of one's past life, contorting the face, covering the nose, and washing the hands. There is also trembling of the body, forcible twisting of the body, and perspiration. Other symptoms which may be present are shame, exhaustion, madness, illusion, frustration, humility, self-pity, restlessness, eagerness, and stunning of the body. When a devotee, lamenting for his past abominable activities, shows special symptoms on his body, his feeling is called ecstasy in devotional service in ghastliness. This is caused by the awakening of his Krishna consciousness. So that we have some songs in our Vaishnava Gitaguchi, different songs where this feeling of ghastliness in looking back at their life is stated. We continue reading. In this connection, there is the following statement, quote, "How can a person take pleasure in the enjoyment of sex life in this body, which is a bag of skin and bones filled with blood, covered by skin and flesh, and which produces mucus and evil smells?" This perception is possible only for one who is awakened to Krishna consciousness and who has become fully cognizant of the abominable nature of this material body. He does a comment. I don't understand how this ghastliness is an expression of love for Krishna. It just sounds like ordinary rejection of the material world, only renunciation. Well, let's keep reading and see. I think that oftentimes we see regarding renunciation. So oftentimes we see people renouncing things falsely and spitting, and it's just a show. They're not really sorry. They're not pure devotees. These are symptoms of, yes, just boga tyag, yes, like a charlatan, yes, Greece. So these are symptoms of a pure devotee who's looking back at their life and just kind of shaking their heads like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And these are not regular folks who are not pure devotees. So does that explain anything or make it more clear? Kandita says, but it is not direct love for Krishna. No, but it's part of their rasa. It's part of their, so these 7, after the five primary ones, and there are these 7 that kind of come and go. They're not constant. They kind of come and go. That I think you're saying it is not direct love. No, it's not direct love. It's a reflection. It's they're reflecting on their life. And if we look at these 2, 3, 4, and 5, we can go through, we can find the cause, we can find the symptoms, we can find the ecstasies, we can find the aggressive ecstasies. We can go through that, those 5 things and find that. Bhakti says, I think the examples make it much more clear. Yes, I agree. And Greece, I don't mean to ignore your comment. I just wanted to continue on that thread. So Greece says, it's like when you say you're sorry to someone, just so adults let you off the hook. You don't really mean it. Well, I think that's what, when we hear in lectures, I think that's what that is. They aren't exhibiting, they're not pure devotees, and they're not exhibiting special symptoms of rasa. They're parroting. Right. Let's keep going and see if we can find more examples to elucidate. In this connection, there is the following statement, quote, how can a person take pleasure in the enjoyment of sex life in this body, which is a bag of skin and bones, filled with blood, covered by skin and flesh, and which produces mucus and evil smells, end quote. This perception is possible, I read this already, sorry. This perception is possible only for one who is awakened to Krishna consciousness and who has become fully cognizant of the abominable nature of this material body. A fortunate child in the womb of his mother prayed to Krishna as follows, quote, O enemy of Kamsa, I am suffering so much because of this material body. Now I am trapped within a mess of blood, urine, liquid stool within the womb of my mother. Because I am living in such a condition, I am suffering great pangs. Therefore, O divine ocean of mercy, please be kind to me. I have no capacity to be engaged in your loving devotional service, but please save me, end quote. There is a similar statement by a person fallen in the hellish conditions of life. He addressed the Supreme Lord thus, quote, My dear Lord, Yamaraj has placed me in a situation which is full of filthy and obnoxious smells. There are so many insects and worms, surrounded by the stools left by different kinds of diseased persons. And after visualizing this horrible scene, my eyes have become sore, and I am becoming nearly blind. I therefore pray, O my Lord, O deliverer from the hellish conditions of life, I have fallen into this hell, but I shall try to remember your holy name always, and in this way I shall try to keep my body and soul together, end quote. This is another instance of ecstatic love for Krishna in an abominable situation. It is to be understood that any person who is constantly engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, has attained a transcendental affection for Krishna, and as such, in any condition of life, he remains satisfied simply by remembering the Lord's name in full affection and ecstatic love. In conclusion, it may be stated that the ecstatic love for Krishna in ghastliness appears during the development of dormant neutrality into developed affection. Development into development affection. Into developed 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 affection. All right, chapter 49. We're just going to get a little ways into this. The mixing of rasas. As described above, there are 12 different kinds of rasas, or ecstatic relationships, which are shared with Krishna. 5 of these rasas are direct. So here they are, the direct ones, Kandita. And they are listed as neutrality, servitude, fraternal love, parental love, and conjugal love. And 7 of the rasas, which are the secondary ones that we've been reading more recently about, are indirect, and they are listed as humor, astonishment, chivalry, compassion, anger, dread, and ghastliness. The 5 direct rasas, those are the Sthayi Bhava on our list on the slideshow, are eternally manifested in the Vaikuntha world, the spiritual kingdom, whereas the 7 indirect rasas are eternally manifesting and unmanifesting in Gokula Vrindavan, where Krishna displays his transcendental pastimes in the material world. Very often, in addition to one's regular rasa, there is found the presence of some other rasa, and the mixture of these loving humors is sometimes compatible or palatable, and sometimes incompatible or unpalatable. The following is a scientific analysis of the compatibility and incompatibility of the mixtures of these various rasas or loving moods. Dita says in chat, oh. All right, so this next little section, if you can just, I'll read it slowly so that you can think about what's going on. I lost my place. Oh, Krishna. Here it is. All right. So when in the rasa of neutral love, Shanta rasa, there are found traces of dread or astonishment, that result is compatible. When with this neutral love there are manifestations of conjugal love, chivalry, anger, or dread, the result is incompatible. When in the ecstasy of a serving humor, that's the Dasi ras, there are manifestations of dread, neutral love, or chivalry, such as dharma vira or dana vira, and the result is compatible. The ecstasy of devotional service and chivalry, Yudhavira, and anger are directly produced by Krishna himself. With the ecstasy of fraternal love, Sakyaras, a mixture of conjugal love, laughter, or chivalry is highly compatible. With the same fraternal love, a mixture of dread or parental love is most incompatible. So you can see that this is kind of defining the parameters of these different rasas and secondary rasas. Although there are gulfs of difference between them, with the ecstasy of parental affection, a mixture of laughter, compassion, or dread is compatible. With the ecstasy of parental love, a mixture of conjugal love, chivalry, or anger is incompatible. With the ecstasy of devotion in conjugal love, a mixture of laughter or fraternity is compatible. According to certain expert opinions, in the ecstasy of conjugal love, the feelings of chivalry, which are known as Yudhavira and Dharmavira, are the only compatible additions. According to this view, except for these 2 humors, all other manifestations are taken as incompatible with conjugal love. With the ecstasy of devotional laughter, a mixture of dread, conjugal love, or parental love is compatible, whereas a mixture of compassion or ghastliness is incompatible. With the ecstasy of devotion and astonishment, a mixture of chivalry or neutral love is compatible, whereas a mixture of anger or dread is always incompatible. I'm not quite sure what to do because this little section goes on. Let me finish this little section of defining the parameters here, so I'll just keep going. With the ecstasy of anger in devotional service, A mixture of compassion or chivalry is compatible, while a mixture of laughter, conjugal union, or dread is completely incompatible. With the ecstasy of dread in devotional service, a mixture of ghastliness or compassion is compatible. With the ecstasy of chivalry in devotional service, a mixture of conjugal union, laughter, or anger is always incompatible. In the ecstasy of ghastliness in devotional service, feelings of neutral love, laughter, or servitude are compatible, whereas feelings of conjugal union and fraternity are incompatible. The above analysis is a sample of the study of rasapasa, or incompatible mixing of rasas. This transcendental science of rasapasa can thoroughly explain the humors in ecstatic love, which are compatible and incompatible with one another. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing in Jagannath Puri, many poets and devotees used to come to him and offer their different kinds of poetry. But the regulation was that Lord Chaitanya's secretary, Swarup Damodar, first examined all of these writings scrutinizingly, and then, if he would find that there were no incompatibilities in the rasas or transcendental mellows, he would then allow the poet to approach Lord Chaitanya and recite his poetry. Rita has a comment. This is so scientific, isn't it? Yes, it is. It is amazing. So I just want to mention, I'm going to stop right there, but I just want to mention that there's a book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu that goes through and analyzes all of this about the rasas and their version that comes from that you can get for free at purebhakti.com has even charts in it to explain all of these compatibilities and incompatibilities and the charts. There are charts about the rasas, and it's quite an extensive endeavor into understanding it. And I think that that the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu is written by, see if I can find it quickly on my computer. I think it's written by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's not finding it. I just had it open a little while ago. Oh, here it is. Hang on. Yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So he's gone through and analyzed all of this, and it's really quite extensive, but it's short. It's not a long tome. It's a short one. Anyway, questions, comments? Anybody want to add to this?
I just want to say thank you for reading for us tonight, Dasi.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I've really enjoyed reading the translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu alongside Srila Prabhupada's study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu here in Nectar of Devotion. And it's made a lot of things a lot more clear, and I'm hoping that it's helping you also to understand it a little more clearly.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a lot more clear this time when the first several times I read it or heard it when I was a younger devotee. It was just like, whoo, what? What is that? But I guess, about everything in Krishna consciousness, eventually more and more, the more we hear and the more time we spend in Krishna consciousness, that more and more different things will be revealed to us. And I've seen that even in Bhagavad Gita, and we can read the same things over and over again, but I get something out of it every time.
Right. I agree. I completely agree. Like just reading it once is not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't read it like a novel. You can't read Prabhupada's books like, it's like takes in-depth consideration and thought and time um, in our own lives of executing devotional service, like, wherever we're at. It's amazing, you really think about it, and it's just absolutely amazing and enthralling.
I agree.
Wow.
Bhakti Mimila says we will see Krishna by revelation, just as he,
Yes.
yeah, and by
Yes.
mercy. You know,
Yes.
I have,
Yes.
I don't get this. I have really studied hard to try and piece this together, and it's only by Krishna's mercy that I can put any of it
Of
together.
course.
Seriously.
Of of course. It
So,
all comes from Krishna.
yeah,
Thank
but it's
you so much.
very welcome, and thank you very much for letting me read here in Bhaktiville. It's like this is my temple right here in Bhaktiville.
So mine too. I feel more present here. As you know, we have, oops, um, online e-sangha. I'm getting stuck in a loop here. Um, online e-sangha classes, which is another avenue, and it's just auditory. But this is really quite wonderful, and I wish more would come, but it's just not everyone can get into it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's Krishna's arranged for us to be here together to talk about this. So I'm
Yes,
happy with who's here. I love all you guys listening to you and you know
me too.
comments and questions and my being able to read. It's wonderful. So this is my sangha here.
Yes, how wonderful.
It is wonderful. And all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Bhakti says, we have definitely learned stuff here. Yes, we have. We either learned it or learned it or learned it. Haribo, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. All right, my friends, have a wonderful evening. We'll be here Sunday morning at 10 if you'd like to chant Bhagavad Arkamarichimala with us. Tuesday at 7 p.m. for Bhagavad Gita.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all, and
Hare Krishna Greece. Bhakti Greece.